My name is Gabbi. I'm a pastry chef from Portland, Oregon, and I'm here to teach you guys how to make some fruit galettes today. So first we're going to start off with some all-purpose flour in a bowl with a little bit of salt. I've got some very cold chilled unsalted butter here and some very cold ice water as well, about 8 ounces of ice water. So I'm going to start with my butter cut up in little pieces, and I'm going to toss it into my flour and salt. The whole point of this type of dough is I want to coat my fat in flour. And the reason I have gloves on today is I don't want to melt my butter while I'm doing this. It's kind of a fun technique. Once you've mastered it, really, really easy, and you can use it with just about any type of dough for pie crust or galettes or any other type of pastry. So I'm going to toss my fat first in the butter. I mean my butter in the flour. Get my fat nice and coated. And then I'm going to start just kind of pinching that butter together. You don't want to focus on any one piece. You want to get each of these big guys kind of down. When we bake this, it's going to come out really nice. And those pieces of fat are going to make our dough really yummy. Highly recommend. If you have any really big chunks of dough, or butter, that's where you really want to focus on. And once you've warmed a piece up, you really don't want to spend too much time on it. Just keep going for those real big pieces. Now I'm going to start to add my water a little bit once I feel like all those big pieces are done. Yeah. Yum. All right. So we're going to add the water slowly. You may not need the full amount of water for each recipe. It's usually just kind of a guideline for most of doughs like this. You want to use as little as possible to kind of turn out a dough. Once you add water to flour, you're going to start gluten development, and we don't really want a lot of gluten development in a pie crust or pastry dough. It just gets messy. I like to do gloves because I like to cut down on the mess a little bit, but also I don't want to melt my butter with my hot little hands. It probably doesn't look delicious to most people, but it looks delicious to me. Oh yeah. All right, I'm going to keep adding a little more butter, and then we're going to turn this out. That looks good. So it's okay if at this point your dough is not super formed. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be okay. I promise. Believe. Trust. I'm going to lightly flour my work surface. Just a wee little bit. And then I'm going to do what we call the cut-in method with the bench scraper. I'm going to take all this stuff together. It's kind of loosely formed butter mass. And I'm going to cut it with my bench scraper and basically fold it on top of itself. Now what this is going to do is, again, prevent gluten development, which we do not want. And it's going to help the dough form and moisturize, but those gluten strands aren't going to form. Yum. I'm just going to keep going until this dough forms really nicely. If you're having trouble with like this large amount, you can separate out half and just go with like a little bit at a time. I want a nice flaky little bit. So I would say this right here is just about done. I could actually roll that out now. So I'm going to set this little dude aside and keep on going with this mass. We are going to finish these doughs up, pop them in the fridge and chill them for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending how cold your fridge is or how cold it is right now. Yum. Yeah, look at those nice flaky layers. Yummy. Yum. So I'm going to wrap these guys in plastic wrap, chill them for about 20 minutes, and see where we're at. And then we'll start making galettes. All right, guys, I'm going to show you how to finish rolling out these galette doughs. So what I did is I sectioned them into 3-ounce portions. If you don't have a scale, you can just eyeball it. I got about 14 out of my total dough. So what's really great about these is you don't have to worry about the shape. We're not trying to get a perfect circle. So what I like to do is start out with the shape that I'm going to end up with. I want to do squares or rectangles, so that's what I kind of molded my doughs into that shape. It's going to make rolling out so much easier if you do that to start. And you want to make sure you really liberally flour your work surface. You're probably going to need to keep doing it as you go. I'm also going to flour my rolling pin. It will stick. If it sticks, don't worry. I'll show you some tricks for that too. Pop it in the middle. You're going to want to pound down at first. That's pretty fun. Take out your aggression. Get it nice and flat to start. And then I'm going to start rolling. It might stick on this side, so I'm just going to flip it over. You're going to want to get a lot of pressure and then pick it up and move it as you go to make sure it's not sticking on the bottom of your surface. I usually stand on my tippy toes to like get a little extra oomph in there. And honestly, that's perfect. We're not going for something perfectly square. We're gonna fold the edges, so this looks lovely. So I'm just gonna keep going here, bust out the rest of these. Keep flouring as you go. You can flour the top as well. I'll just roll my rolling pin in the flour to get some on there. My favorite part is pounding it down. You just keep going. Remember, pick it up as you go, flip it over. If it sticks to your surface, you can grab a spatula and that'll help get it off. That's pretty much perfect. We're just basically going for about the same size, not for perfect square. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you how to assemble these galettes. So I've got a variety of fruit right here, all cut up. I've got some pears, they're super ripe and lovely, some apples, some raspberries, and some cherries. You really want to do anything that's in season. Of course, you want it to be nice and ripe and delicious. So I thought today we could just do a couple of each type and then combine a few. So what you really want to do, and I want to encourage everybody to do, is make sure you taste your products. So I know that these pears are really ripe and delicious. These apples are kind of sweet, actually. And obviously my raspberries are kind of tart and so are my cherries. So we're actually going to season the fruit as we put them in so we know exactly how much sugar or lemon juice to add to them. So I'm going to start with these pears because, oh my gosh, they're just so delicious. What I love about the squares is you can really kind of like do something really lovely. And I like to keep my cut pieces together so that I can make something really nice and layer them up. You want to leave about an inch border. So these pears are just about perfect. I'm going to line them up really pretty. And since I know they're pretty sweet, I'm probably just going to put a tiny bit of sugar and just a little bit of lemon juice on them. Oh. So just a little sprinkle of sugar and just a little sprinkle of lemon juice. It's okay if you get these on your gloves or have them on your hands. No worries. And then I'm just gonna fold the edges around. Again, we're not going for perfection. We're going for like rustic and lovely. I'm just gonna tuck that fruit in there. Oh my gosh, I already wanna eat it. And so what you can actually do with these when they're assembled like this, you can pop these in the freezer, like individually wrap them, pop them in the freezer, last about 2 weeks, and then bake them off when you actually want them. So I'm gonna keep on going here. I was thinking maybe a pear and cherry tart would be really yummy. We'll give it a try. If you keep your cut slices together, they just tend to look a little prettier. You can definitely cut them a little thinner if you'd like. One of the tips I definitely recommend is dotting these with butter right before you put them in the oven. Oh my gosh, so good. Again, we're not going for perfection, just like life, we're just going for something delicious. I'm not gonna put any sugar on these apples because they are exceedingly sweet. So what I am gonna do is probably dot them with a little lemon juice. Kind of tuck them in as you go. Look at that. It doesn't have to be perfect. So yummy. I'm thinking a cherry one would be delicious. These cherries are pretty tart, so I probably will put some sugar on them.